Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. So I'm listening to all this stuff. I'm stuck over here. Well, don't mind my charging cord is going to my tablet. So I'm over here in Grand Junction, Colorado, waiting on a load. I got here yesterday afternoon or late morning actually, and so I've just been listening to all this Trump stuff with the National Guard being called and the DC Metro Police Department being under federal control, I guess, if you will. But anyways, I'm listening to the press secretary right now, and I watched. First off, if you are a black belt in Kung Fu, right? I don't know why I use that analogy, but you're not going to walk up and tell everybody your moves, right? You're just going to do Kung Fu on them if they come at you. So this is what I don't understand. You have the House Representatives and was it Congress and Senate? I think it's Senate and then the House of Representatives. They're all out right now till September 1st, Labor Day. And then they reconvene. So right now, they're all out of D.C. and they're in there. I look like I got a lazy eye, huh? They're back in their constituent states to address their constituents and, address, problems, whatever the case is. So they're all gone from D.C. So, they're talking about, like, J.D. Vance was interviewed. He said there's a lot of indictments coming down, this and that, and I don't think. So if you pay attention to all the stuff that's going on around the world right now with volcanoes, earthquakes, public disorderly, just everything is like coming to a head. So Trump, if you look at Trump's speech yesterday, it's like a five minute some second speech, not an interview, but I guess a speech. He talks about how the DC area has been overwhelmed with crime and gangs and drugs and all this other stuff. Well, the press secretary is talking about the homeless population, and I think they'll be hating on my big ass box of Twizzlers, but my fat ass is sitting somewhere, man. I just eat, man. It's like you eat out of boredom. At least I do. So you guys like my lights? Anyways, I do. So why would J.D. Vance come out and say, there's going to be a lot of indictments? Didn't say arrests, but indictments. Why would you show them your Kung Fu moves, right? That doesn't make any sense. They're doing this because that's what the American people want to hear. I need to shave. They want to, that's what the American people want to hear, because so far, this administration, came in swinging, and they started, with the overspending and all this other stuff. And then there was kind of a lull. And I did a video that said, they're all turning on Trump. So the federalizing of the DC Metro Police, bringing in the National Guard, but yet the House of Representatives and the Senate, they're not there. Why now? Why now? If it truly is about the crime and the disorderly and the drugs and the press secretary was talking about because one of the reporters just asked her, what about the homeless population in D.C.? I guess it's enormous, just like a lot of places around the country. And I'll get to something else that I saw and I heard. So, I don't think this is about crime and disorderly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so when he was in office last time, Trump, and remember when he took that, they call it a photo op, when he came out and he walked across the street from the White House and he held that Bible up and it was right in front of that church. Nothing happened then. I mean, that seemed, I mean, with all the protests and everything that were happening in D.C., you would think that was, probably the most threatening time in D.C. Since he was in office or whatever. And then now all of a sudden you're pulling out all your kung fu moves to warn if you believe in a deep state, black hats, white hats, whatever. But if you believe in that, so now you're going to, so why wouldn't you just do this behind closed doors, and then just pounce on everybody at once? You got to figure, if there's a lot of indictments of politicians or whatever the case is, wouldn't you think that you would wait till they were back in session? Because then you could just pop in there when they're all there and round them all up. Instead of having to contact all these municipalities in all these different states and coordinate all the way around the country, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know it's not every politician and it's not every House of Representative or senator, but it just seems too convenient that they're out till the 1st. So nobody's in D.C. except for obviously Trump and J.D. Vance, whatever the case is. I don't see how it's because they're talking about these indictments. And you go on several channels and you start hearing, oh, yep, see, it's coming. So whatever, and it's always kicking that can down the road. It's always kicking that can down the road on all these prepping channels, whatever the case is, or these news outlets. Yeah, see, it's coming. It's coming. See, that's why he was placed. Stop jumping on the fucking bandwagon, first off. Second off, I don't think it's about the indictments. I think they're playing the American people. So the American people, once they see this happen in D.C. with the federalizing of the Metro Police Department and then bringing in the National Guard, they're playing the American people. They're saying, well, and Trump's, if you go back and you look at yesterday's speech or set, whatever, I'm not really sure what it's called, but anyways, they showed Trump behind the podium, Pete Hegseth there, the press secretaries there, and he's talking about once it goes good here, it's going to happen very rapidly. And it's probably going to go to Chicago, New York, L.A. He didn't say Portland or Seattle, but you might as well just keep going to every major metropolis around the country. Houston, Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Like that just... And the American people, they're not going to be... Well, the dumb ones. The smart ones, we already know what's going on, or what the real truth is, in my opinion. So there you have all these people that are backing Trump, right? The ones that already turned on him because it didn't happen, fast enough. Oh, the fuel prices are still high. Nobody's like, I mean, you got to figure it hasn't even been enough. And I'm not a big Trump supporter. I voted for Trump. I believe he's a psyop. I believe that he is part of that realm of politician, whatever the case is. I truly believe that this is all scripted, that they're just playing on. And I've said this for years. This isn't just something I just said, oh yeah, I'm just going to fall in line with everybody else. I literally said this for years, that Trump's a psyop, and So basically you have this overwhelming amount of public support for Trump. So what better way, once they go on their recess, the House of Representatives and the Senate, and then they say, well, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in the National Guard. We're going to federalize the D.C. Police Metro. And then if it goes well here, we're just going to start doing it all around the country. Well, the Trump supporters, being as stupid as they are, they're, oh yeah, man, hell yeah, come to our city, man. Stop all this rioting. Stop all this protesting. Come to our city, because they're thinking, because that's what they want to believe, he's going to lock them up finally. All these indictments. So all these federal, troops are going to be around the country. Then he's going to federalize each police department for every major metropolis. So not only are you going to have the federalization of the federalizing of the Metro DC police, and then having the National Guard in DC, now you're going to have Chicago, you're going to put the National Guard there, you're going to federalize the police, Seattle, LA, all these big major cities. And the Trump people are going to say, well, it needs to happen because, of what's coming down the loop, because people are going to be upset and the left and all this other stuff. No, it's not because of the indictments. It's not because of the lockups. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with control. So if you're not paying attention to everything that's going on around the world right now with all these volcanoes and, all these earthquakes, there's just so much to it. Like, just everything is coming to a head. Now, we're going to do hypothetical speculation. What if some major... Oh, and before I go to that, did you guys see the Rosie O'Donnell saying go black or go dark? And not once but twice. If you don't, Google it or look it up. Rosie O'Donnell did like this post or whatever, very short, of her face. Go dark. Go dark. So, if you don't have National Guard, so they're going to start with DC, because that's the most important area in the country, right? That is our capital. So they want to make sure that is protected in case things come back, whatever the case is. So you start there, and then you start to grow out, and you start pushing to all these other, major cities, and then you say, well, now this is the speculation part and the hypothetical. Something happens majorly, and people just start going. They say we're 9 meals away from becoming, straight animals if you're not prepared. So if you don't have the National Guards out there and the police departments out there that the federal government can control, you're going to have complete mayhem. You're going to have complete mayhem, destruction, killing, rape. You're going to have so many things happening. So you really need to think about this and stop thinking that there's going to be lockups, there's going to be indictments. This is just a play, man. They're going to literally put them all around, and the people are going to encourage it to happen. And the people are going to say, hell yeah, man, do it. Let's do it. And then when some major, and it's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when that comes. And so you got to figure from this point to the 1st of September, you really should be on high alert. You really should be paying attention to your senators and your Congress and your House of Representatives, because what better way to camouflage by taking all the House of Representatives and Senate, everything out of the DC area, get them up into their states, and then take them away somewhere and put them in a bunker, whatever the case is. You take them out, because now people, they're not paying attention to their Congress people or their Senate or whatever the case is, senators. So if you want, you should start really paying attention to your politicians for your state, because what better way, if they were all to leave DC Well, first off, they can't, so there's no excuse. Like, where are all these senators? Where are all these, Congress people? Yeah, so that would bring up a red flag, like what's going on. But if you do something while they're on recess, you can't keep track of them. If they were all to leave DC at one given time, the public would know something's up. But you disperse them to their constituent states, and then you start going and collecting them little at a time. And when it's too late, the National Guard and the police are going to be under federal control for all these major cities. Therefore, it's not about the indictments. It's not about the lockups. It's about basically securing the entire United States from complete mayhem and destruction. That's what I'm getting at. So the press secretary was talking about the homeless population in DC. Well, I watched this thing today on the homeless encampments in the California area, and they were talking about, like, there's hundreds of these RVs illegally parked, and in all these I don't know if they're sanctuary cities or whatever, but there's a lot of homeless out there, and I know because I drive semi. I've seen them. I've driven through them. So there's another part to that equation, I guess. They're rounding up all of these homeless people, and they want to put them in housing. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of them are migrants. Not all, obviously, but the ones that they were interviewing on this news outlet I saw, they're towing the RVs, and they're going to start rounding these people up. So because there are so many homeless, encampments all around the country, with all the people that came across the border, and not just from Venezuela or Ecuador or anywhere, right? I'm talking about Iran, China, the cartels, all this stuff. Are they disguising themselves as homeless people? Because if you look at the homeless population, they're around the major big cities. Well, what better way to disguise people that are possibly going to do something evil or want evil things to happen to the United States? Camouflage them as homeless people. They're around police. They're all around the cities. Well, what better way to do that is as these sleeper cells are in these homeless encampments, they say, you know what? This is the best way to start an attack. So they're doing this whole federalizing the police and the military because there's something coming. Nobody knows. I mean, there's always, like, if you say, one day, Kurt, you're going to lose weight, well, I'm not going to give a time on that, right? It's eventually, if it happens, which probably ain't, I'll say, well, see, I told you I was going to lose weight. Well, excuse me. Well, it's inevitable that's going to happen one time in your life. So these prepping channels that say, oh, man, I've been telling you this for years, man, that something was coming. Yeah, no shit, something's coming. I'm just saying, it's very, very, why put your kung fu moves out there to let your opponent know, hey, listen, this dude knows kung fu and he's probably going to fuck me up pretty good. No, you put that kung fu on him after you start the fight. So why would you be announcing all these, these because they want to please the American population, and they want to say that's why we're activating the National Guard, federalizing the police, and we're shutting down the homeless encampments because, one, they don't want the public to panic, and two, they need to kind of, I wouldn't say, well, yeah, kind of neutralize the threat, right? So I don't really know, but they're making it an issue with the press secretary talking about homeless people and how they're going to be rounded up and they're going to take them to shelters, because once you're in one big shelter, you can be monitored, right? Cameras, this, that, oh, you can't leave, you can't come in, this shelter's full. Now you got all of your, people that are in question, now you can keep an eye on them, right? So, don't make fun of my cord. So I'm just saying, pay attention to your state senators and your Congress people. And if they all of a sudden are ghost or you don't know where they are, something's going to come down. So this isn't about indictments. This isn't about arrests. This is, they want the American people not to be, and what better way to disguise it, right? Like, we're doing this because of the crime. We're doing this because of the riots. We're doing this because of the protests. And the people are going to go, oh, thank God, it's about time. But in actuality, it's because something bigger is coming and they don't want the people to panic. So I'm just saying, from now till September 1st, definitely watch your surroundings. Maybe go out and get some extra water, some extra food, one of those protection things, and a lot of stuff that goes into the protection device. So anyways, I'm going to get back to chilling and doing absolutely fucking nothing. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.